Hey, everybody, and welcome to the C3 webinar today. I want to talk about purpose. Purpose means the reason in which something exists. The reason in which something exists. That's a very, 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 very powerful statement there. The reason in which something exists. I think that as doctors, we're always striving. Most are striving for new patients, striving for workshops, striving for money, striving. And what I found is the more we strive, and I'm not saying that's bad, so please do not get me wrong on this C3 webinar today. But the more that we are striving, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes we forget our purpose as a C3 chiropractor. That many call, few are chosen. And I believe that you and I have been called. I believe that you and I have been chosen. For those of you that were on the amazing Monday night C3 monthly prayer webinar with Dr. Francis Smiles, when he prayed that prayer of activation, man, that was a prayer of divine, I even believe, holy purpose. Years ago, many years ago, when I was in school at Northwestern, and we had, as a freshman, a spinalogy class, or my sophomore year, a spinalogy class, the professor, Dr. Lemoyne Rusher, taught us how to do a master cervical, I guess, rotary adjustment, it was called back in the day. Maybe it still is. I don't know, because I don't do that at all. But I was standing in Burger Chef, a little like a Burger King, McDonald's type of a restaurant where the students would go, because the salad bar was, all you can eat for like 50 cents. And Ori Kessler, who's about 6'2", he said he had a headache, a real bad headache. And I turned around and I said, well, let me try to adjust you. And I did a rotary break. And I tell you, you could have heard that audible from here to Toledo, Ohio. And immediately, Ori said, my gosh, it's gone. He said, yeah, my headache's gone. And I felt like the whole earth was shaking. That was like the greatest day of my life. And I believe that day, by giving that, you can call a manipulation, rotary break, whatever, I found my true purpose, because I said to myself, wow, this is the greatest thing I've ever done. I want to do this, lay hands on the sick, that they may recover for the rest of my life. And I'm sure most of you in the C3 family felt the same way when you gave your first adjustment. And I want to read a few things here. If you don't have a purpose or a goal, you will end up wandering and going nowhere. Arnold Schwarzenegger. If you don't have a purpose, you don't have a prayer. If you don't have a purpose, you don't have a prayer. Powerful. I know the days can get long. If you don't have a purpose, get fatigued, get tired. Why? A lot of times is because you lose, as a chiropractor, your purpose of serving God by serving man through the vehicle of God's healing gift of chiropractic. It wears you out. When you forget your purpose, you start striving for this, striving for that, and forget your core, which is your purpose on this planet. to lay hands on the sick through the vehicle of specific scientific chiropractic so that subluxations would be removed and people could receive their God-given health potential. A man who lacks purpose distracts himself with pleasure. Man or woman lacks purpose, distracts themselves with pleasure. Leaders often say that without a clear purpose, companies cannot motivate employees or achieve long-term growth. The sentiment is that a life without purpose is just existing, and that purpose is the oxygen for the soul. Our purpose as a principal chiropractor is the oxygen of our chiropractic soul. That's powerful, man. Getting back to your purpose. The CEO of GE, who was like 98 years old when I would speak at all the conferences throughout the world, chiropractic conferences, for many years, I would read the article that was in the New York Times when they interviewed him. And they said, how do you do what you do for all these years? Like 98 years old, still the CEO of GE. He said, I have a purpose. Without a purpose, I'm dead. You know what? I hate to say it like this, but without a purpose for your office, the office is dead. Without a purpose for being a chiropractor, dead, I believe, in my opinion. So we have to reignite our passion. And one way of reigniting is by reading that prayer activation from Monday night with Dr. Francis Miles. That pumped me up, renew my purpose, where today I got a text from a very well-known MD in this area, very well-known, sending me patients. That's rare, very rare, I found. Purpose, striving for purpose. You know, you could outside in. You could go fall in love with golf, and I love golf. I work with the PGA, right? USGA. You can fall in love with fishing now that, for those of us that live in the north, getting warmer weather. Fall in love with music, whatever. But what I found is when a chiropractor gets fatigued, tired, disgusted, even confused, goes over and above finances, is when they lose their purpose of being a chiropractor. That, like Dr. Sid Williams, we've heard it so much, would say we have to empty out the hospitals and fill up the houses of worship, fill up the churches, fill up the synagogues. That man had purpose to his dying day. Here, so many, they say, well, they want to retire. I get calls from chiropractors from all over the world. They're like 40 years old. How can I retire? Man, they're thinking that way. That's where their focus is. And guess what? They're going to lose their purpose. Their purpose. That if there's 60,000 chiropractors in the world, which I think now, and don't quote me on this because I'm not positive, say there's like 80,000 chiropractors in the world. Well, the population in the world is what, like 7 billion? God needs us to fulfill our purpose of setting the captives free, removing subluxation, removing nerve interference so that we can help this planet receive the God-given health potential, each individual, baby, child, adult, senior citizen, mother, father, grandma, grandpa, great grandma, great grandpa, to help people know the message of the principle of do like this, gang, above, down, inside, out. Say it again. Above, down, inside, out. Remember, with God, all things are possible. Dr. Ben and I, Dr. Eric, we love you all and appreciate you. And we'll speak to you soon. And I'll see you next week in Myrtle Beach.